What is up, guys? This is Matt from Matt's California Fireworks, and today we're going to be going over the Phantom Flyer. And I get that this is kind of old news, but we happened to get a hold of this flyer when I was in Florida. And then when I came back, I had to help paint one of the rooms of my house because we got a whole project where we're repainting all the rooms in the house. So I haven't had time to really go over this in a video. So we are a bit late, but we got fireworks sales are going to start about 1 week from now. So I gotta get this done, and this is how it's going to get done. So spoiler alert from the title, a lot of what I'm going to say here is not super duper friendly towards Phantom, if that wasn't obvious. Now, I actually happen to have a 2024 flyer at my disposal here because the stand I go to is very generous and they let me keep this. The TNT stand also will let me keep their flyers, but they've mentioned to me that they only get like 20 brochures and stuff, so I don't want to, since I know the prices anyways, I don't keep it. But the Phantom stand gets like 300 or some odd of these, so they just let everybody keep them. So I got a brochure from 2024, and I actually also have a brochure from 2022 at my disposal. I don't have a 2023 one, but we're just going to go over this and look at how this pans out. So on the left here, we got the Komodo 3000, Apache Fire Dance Premier, and the Crown Jewel. We got $99.99 for the Komodo 3000 and $99.99 for the Crown Jewel. And then the Apache Fire Dance Premier is $89.99. None of these fountains are worth that price. The only good thing I see here compared to the 2024 flyer is that the Apache Fire Dance Premier is down $10. Now, getting into this, looking at the 2022 flyer, all of these, as well as the There She Glows and New York Harbor Fountain, were buy one get one free. They were $120 buy one get one free, but that it's a way better deal than just $100 for these not very good 500 grammars. I have no idea why Phantom is charging $100 for these things. Frankly, that's pretty ridiculous. So we're going to go over the Hero Series next. We got War Fountain for $30. That's the same as last year. And then we have Iron Master, $12.99. That's the same price. Iron Master is about the only one of these that I think is like kind of good. It's not a super highly recommend, but it's all right. And then we got the Majestic Lightning, which is $16.99 on the new flyer. It's also $16.99 last year, so it's good we don't have a price increase on that. And then Captain Nuclear, I don't know why on the Earth. Again, this is another instance of a sucky firework that they are charging way too much for. But it is the same price as last year, so there is that. And then Savage, last year it was also $25, but it's not worth it. Especially, DFS has this fountain with the center tube. It's called Whimsy, and that center tube is what is where you get the money out of, and it's $27. So don't buy this. Professor Flame in this box is the one that I really have an issue with. $40 for this pretty sucky fountain. Livewire at DFS this year, it looks to be under $20, and it's a better fountain than this. It's a rewrap of this and a better, more powerful version of this. I demoed this fountain in 2023, and it was honestly laughable how sucky it is. And now, the real kicker, last year, this was being sold for $30. BOGO. Why on earth they raised the price $10 and you only get one of these? This is one of those pricing. This is where the title of the video comes in. It makes absolutely no freaking sense at all. Do not understand it. What are you doing, Phantom? So next up, we're going to go up to the Intergalactic series, which is way better than the Hero series, by the way. $29.99 for these three at the top, which are Cosmic Velocity, Galactic Radiance, and Electric Manipulation. And they're BOGO. This isn't bad. Electric Manipulation, I think, is the best one of this bunch. And the other two are kind of eh. But they aren't bad, but they're just kind of eh. But Electric Manipulation, 2 Electric Manipulations for $30. I'm definitely not going to tell you not. I'm not going to say go out and grab it, but it's not horrible. And then these small fountains, they're Nova Blast, Beaming Lights, Cosmic Encounter. Those stayed at $3.99 each, which is actually pretty good to see because those are actually quite worth it. They have crackle similar to a fountain called Orchid from TNT, and they also have some fairly okay effects in them. My favorite of the 3 is Beaming Lights, which is actually, it's pretty powerful for its size. So if you're on a budget and you want some variety, those are a good pickup. Now, the Fiery Metal Flower and Storm Runner are BOGO $49.99. This is probably the best deal on Phantom's catalog this year. They did have this last year. I ended up getting this deal last year, and I mixed and matched the Fiery Metal Flower and the Storm Runner. I think I'm going to get it again, but pick up 2 Storm Runners this year, because the flower is good for variety, but I just think Storm Runner's the better fountain. So you do take the chance with the Storm Runner that you're going to get the watered down version, but from what I understand, most people last year actually did get the good one. And Phantom Fireworks posted on their Facebook page a demo night earlier this week that actually does have the good one. So I'm going to take my chance with it. That's up to you guys, though. And then right below the Storm Runner and Fiery Metal Flower, we got Dragon's Tears, Brouhaha, Illuminati Triangle, and the brand new Lighthouse Fountain for $49.99. These are all priced, in my opinion, a bit too much. Illuminati Triangle and Brouhaha especially. Dragon's Tears is not awful for $50. I just really wish it was cheaper. It has good effects. I just really wish this was $39.99 instead. But at least they've matched TNT's price. TNT has Lava Panther, which is basically the same thing for this. The Lighthouse is a pretty darn good fountain, actually. But again, I can't say it's worth that price. So if you're going to get any of these, I would suggest the Lighthouse. But otherwise, skip all of them. So the next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to go up to the top right and talk about Lady Liberty and Flaring Stars. These are both up $2 from what they were last year. I don't recommend Lady Liberty. This used to be a good fountain, but it doesn't have the power it needs to be to justify almost $20. Flaring Stars, $18.99. It sucks to see that price increase, but I still think it's probably one of Phantom's best fountains. It has great color with flying fish. So, but they're pushing it. They really are pushing it. Moving down, you got a $24.99 BOGO category, and this is another good batch. You got the Serenity, Bazooka Torch, and Luminescence. The Bazooka Torch is just a really gigantic sparkler. So, and I do mean gigantic. It's not just your average California candle, but I don't think it's real. I think it's definitely the lesser of these. Luminescence is okay. It used to be a lot more powerful than it is now, but Serenity is the definite deal of the year here at Phantom, probably. If I didn't already say that about the Storm Runner. I really like Serenity. The first tube of nitrocellulose, when you divide $25 BOGO into half, you get $12.50 per fountain. And the first tube of Serenity, I'm telling you, will pretty much pay for itself. So this is the same in the 2020 as it was in the 2024 catalog. In the 2022 catalog, it's actually $30 for one of them. So nice job on the price drop, Phantom. But I'm sure it's just because you probably have an overstock of these, because $30 for this thing in 2022 was pretty egregious. So moving over to the right of that box, we have 2 new fountains. We have the Happiness Fountain, and we have Spirit in the Night. We don't really have a good demo of Happiness, but I'm not super impressed with it for $30. Spirit in the Night, though, is actually a pretty awesome buy. It's definitely a recommended item I have from Phantom. It has some great flying fish and willow effects, and it goes on for almost 2 minutes. I will definitely be picking one of these up. Down below that, you have the 4-pack of the soda pop fountains. Same price as they were last year. Still do not buy them. A lot of people think, oh, this is the same as TNT's Bottled Sparks. I'm telling you, no. They are not the same at all. Now, moving to the right of that, we have Hasta La Vista Baby and the Fiery Frog. Hasta La Vista Baby went up $2 from last year. Actually, that's wrong. It was $32.99 BOGO last year. So they increased the price, and now you only get one of them. And this fountain kind of sucks anyways. What on earth are you doing, Phantom? That's ridiculous. You increased the price. You got to realize that is basically an over 100% increase that you're looking at here. To the right of him, you got the Fiery Frog, which is unfortunately up $5 from 2024. It's only up $2 from what it was in 2022, though. In 2022 on the flyer, it says it was $32.99. But it really should be BOGO for $34.99. That's just... Is it a neat fountain? Yeah. Is it kind of have the meme potential? Yeah, but it's just not worth that price at all. Down below this, on this flyer, we have the New York Harbor, which I believe that says it's BOGO for $100. Now, that's not terrible, to be honest with you. I guess this whole box is BOGO for $100, so you can mix and match the New York Harbor, the Coral Reef, the Spark, and the Peacock Tail Fan. Last year, this was $90 just for one, so that's an improvement, but it sucks that the price went up $10. Peacock Tail Fan was not featured on last year's flyer, but I have no idea what it is. So, New York Harbor is okay. Coral Reef is a Delirium rewrap, but Delirium is really watered down, so I'm assuming that Coral Reef probably about the same. The Radioactive Spark, 2 for $50 is not bad. I like TNT Spinner a bit better than this one, so if you're willing to spend $59.99 over at TNT for one of those, it's probably the better buy. But if you wanted to get something out of this category, I'd just buy 2 Sparks and be done with it. So as you can see by the screen change, we've moved on to the bottom right of the flyer, which I decided to enlarge because I was having trouble reading it. It's unfortunately not in super high resolution, the copy we have of it, but this is what we're dealing with. $39.99 BOGO. I think that's cut out in my video, unfortunately, but these are BOGO for the Moondance Premier, Flower Pot, and the Vibrant Voltage. Not an awful deal. If I probably am going to get a Flower Pot and a Moondance Premier out of this. I don't think Vibrant Voltage is bad. It's just not super duper good. And then moving to the right, we got Funky Monkey, Red, White, and Blue Jubilee, and Pixie Dust for $39.99. Pixie Dust was $39.99 BOGO last year, so there's a 100% increase on that, and it's an awful fountain. Do not buy this. I think last year I rated this as like one of as Phantom's worst fountain. Red, White, and Blue Jubilee really upsets me because I think this is a good fountain. It was $32.99 BOGO for it last year. Now it's $39.99 for a single one. That's over 100% increase. Ironically, there's one nice thing in this box. Funky Monkey is down $10 from last year. Do I think it's worth $40? No. But it's down a bit. So take what we can get. Iron Eagle in the box over is still $59.99. That's still too much for it, but that is the same price as it was last year. Next, you got the Double Punch Heroes, which are, to say the least, a bit infuriating. This went up from $59.99 to $89.99. That is a $30 increase on these from last year. What in the world is justifying that? First off, a lot of people weren't even able to get their hands on these last year because they didn't stock them. I guess maybe they're popular and they're rare or something, so maybe that's what they are using to justify this. But I can't. Who on earth is going to buy these? I mean, they're some of Phantom's best fountains, but who on earth is going to spend, let's see, $45 each on one? It's ridiculous. What are you doing? So now we're going to move over to the other side of the flyer, and I just noticed that this video is already 15 minutes long. If you're still listening to me, what are you doing with your life? But thank you. So I'm just going to kind of quickly raffle off what I see in this box and kind of compare it. I'm going to start off with the under $13 box. Most of these look to be the same. Tornado spinners, I believe those are $3.99. Same thing as last year. Probably, I like these better than the standard ground blooms. I just noticed that they're kind of hard to find. Snakes for $3.99. They're okay. At least it's not a price increase. The wolf pack of snaps for $3.99. Again, same thing. One thing I don't see in this box that here it is. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say I didn't see confetti lights. It's $5.99 on the 2024 flyer. It is still $5.99 on this flyer. Crack the Whip, $3.99. The cheapest whips you can get are at Freedom, especially since they give you 6 in a box. These are 3 in a box. But I think this is a better deal than TNT's whips. But they kind of suck, to be completely honest with you. Crackle balls for $3.99. Again, cheaper at Freedom, but here they are cheaper than TNT. So if you only got TNT and Phantom, get the Crackle balls at Phantom. Smoke balls, $3.99. Most of these are $3.99. $3.99 for gyro blooms. The neon smoke balls are $3.99. And then these strobe sticks, again, $3.99. Moondance, if I'm reading the new flyer correctly, looks to be up $1 from last year. It is now $6.99, as is the Killer Bee. Why on earth people are trying to buy Killer Bees from Phantom? A single Killer Bee at $6.99 when TNT is selling a single Killer Bee for $2.72. Again, I have no idea. The regular ground blooms, I think we've already went over those. Neon Morning Glories, these are basically just regular sparklers. They were new last year. I don't know why they still have the new tag on them. The Blackbeard's Cutlass is $12.99 still. Light of Liberty, $12.99. I assume the Super Colossal Smoke Ball is still $12.99. So down near the bottom here, like I said, we're really suffering from the low resolution of this flyer. Tanks, I think these are up $1 or $2 from what they were last year. I don't see them on last year's flyer. Oh wait, no, here they are. $10.99 last year, so they're $12.99 now, if I'm reading the price right. The Morning Glories are, it looks like it's still $10.99 for a 30-pack. And my flyer from last year says new packaging, same great quality. These, technically a better deal at TNT to get these, but I'm going to have a whole video about Forced BOGOs sometime this week that's going to go over why I personally think that the Phantom ones are a better deal, even though they are slightly more expensive than TNT ones. Next over, you got your Whistling Phantoms for $12.99 now. I think that's what that says. These were $10.99 last year. TNT, I'm pretty sure, is selling Piccolo Pete's for $11.99. Phantoms Piccolo Pete's have always been like $1 more than TNT's for some version. I've never demoed them, so I couldn't tell you if they're strong or anything. They're probably not. This bottom box of the Dragon Slayer, Treasure, Uproar, and Sparkles of Pride are all total garbage. Dragon Slayer used to be the least objectionable of this, but it's been completely watered down from what I've seen. It doesn't even have the ending crackle anymore, so I don't know why Phantom continues to just nerf their fountains. It's literally... Phantom's stuff keeps getting weaker and weaker as time goes on. So has TNT's, but TNT is doing a lot better with new items. I went over their new items yesterday, and their new items actually have a bit of oomph to them. You know what I mean? So all TNT really has to do to just gap Phantom, which they've already been doing in my opinion, is just make the same quality of stuff that they've done. And in fact, they've been getting better on their quality in my opinion. So it irks me because it makes me honestly get the idea that Phantom is just either completely out of touch with their competition or that they're just trying to pull out of California. So now we're going to go over the assortments. So their assortments are here, which I'm sure as a shock to absolutely nobody, I got problems with this too. Starting on the top left, we got the Phantom Ultimate Party. This one's $110 garbage, but at least it's the same price as last year. Chamber of Sparks is up $5 from last year, and it's crap. The Backyard Barrage is up, holy moly, that is a big increase. Is that $289 for this now, compared to $219 for it last year? Why? What did you put in this that makes it that much better? I'll answer, nothing. It's the same thing. The Moonstruck is the same price as last year. The Celebration is up $5 from last year, and it's junk. The Phantom Favorites pack, which is like the big value bag, is up $10. Again, what did you do to make it like 50% better? Oh yeah, nothing. The Adventure Backpack was $32.99 last year, $39.99 this year. What's justifying that? Backyard Jubilee is actually the same price, but it's an awful attempt at like rivaling TNT's American Dream Team. Not that the American Dream Team from TNT is that good. Fire Blast is $259. And here's the one that really boggles the mind. The Phantom Awestruck, up almost $100. It is up $90. They are charging more for this Phantom Awestruck, which is 2 tiers below the size of the Fire Blast. And the Fire Blast is cheaper. I get that the Fire Blast is an absolute garbage assortment and the Awestruck is the better assortment, but what are we doing? This is a smaller assortment than the Fire Blast and you're charging more for it? What? I mean, is it the best assortment in California? It used to be. Maybe we said it was the best too much and people started buying it too much and that's why they're like, oh, we're going to hike up the price. But $90? That makes no sense. What on earth are you doing, Phantom? So anyways, next over, we got the Backyard Bash. Still $900 I said ducks. And still junk, just to let you know. So, what are my overall opinions here? Phantom, your flyer makes no sense. More specifically, well actually no. Their flyer made no sense last year. They fixed that. I made a video talking about how their flyer sucked last year, but they fixed that. I don't have any problems with this flyer. I got a problem with all these prices. What is justifying? Okay, most of this stuff stayed the same. Why are some stuff like the Awestruck, Pixie Dust, what else? The Red, White, and Blue Jubilee, Hasta La Vista Baby, and Professor Flame, why are those going up like 100%? Sure, we had tariffs, okay, but we had tariffs. Maybe those specific items were the items that got affected, were still on the boat or not shipped when they came over. But do you really think Phantom's going to put the prices down next year once the tariffs come off? Because the tariffs are off, and they're trying to get an exemption for fireworks. And no, they're not going to drop these. I mean, some of them have dropped. I don't think, well, not this year, obviously, but compared to the 2022 flyer, some of this stuff is better than 2022, but most of it is up astronomically for like no reason. There's a couple of stuff that increased like $3, $4, or $5. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Awestruck that increased by like 70%, I'm talking about Professor Flame, which increased by over 100%. Red, White, and Blue Jubilee that increased by over 100%. That stuff. Am I going to go as far as Beast to say that we should boycott Phantom? No. I believe that we need Phantom. I believe that they need to do better, but I believe that we need them because competition is a good thing. TNT, yeah, they've been doing great, but would they be great if they had absolutely no competition in California? Probably not. Competition makes firework companies better. We've seen it with TNT these past few years because it seems like TNT is bent on trying to get Phantom out of the market. And to be honest with you, Phantom's kind of doing it to themselves. So, am I going to say we should boycott Phantom? No. I'll be going there this year to get a few things. But only a few things. Phantom's fountains do not have the same power overall as TNT. They have a few good items. There's stuff like low noise stuff they excel at. They have better color than TNT in most cases. Not in the newest cases. But they've been better about that for a while. But it just feels like they're dying in California. And I want them to do better. I really do. I'm not going to hate. I mean, I just spent the last 25-ish minutes of this video hating on them. But I'm not going to tell you to boycott them. I think there is some stuff worth buying from them. And they need to see what stuff is worth buying from them. Because there is stuff. They need to see what's working for them and make it work again better. Because, like I said, we need them. We need them to keep TNT in check. TNT has been doing great. Would they stay doing great if they didn't have this competition? No. They have no incentive to. So, Phantom, I want you to be better. I really do. But you do not make it easy for me to promote your stand. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm done. You guys have watched way too long. I've talked for way too long. Can you believe this? You almost listened to me talking for like half an hour over fireworks? Anyways, goodbye.